The Secret Doctors of NASA is a series of memoirs, diaries, and reports from actual doctors employed by an undisclosed arm of NASA between 1970 and 2001. These writings contain true accounts of the unusual and often highly classified medical conditions experienced by astronauts during and after their space missions. Following the defunding of the clandestine medical program after the September 11, 2001 terror attacks, the majority of these accounts were left forgotten, on tape drives in a NASA storage facility. In 2016, a former intern whose job was to clean out one of these facilities discovered them. 2 years later, he's ready to release what he's found. The following is a recording from Dr. employed from the years of to
Look, I'd been awake for 2 straight days. You guys have been putting us through hell with all the injuries from the Hephaestus project, so forgive me if the results weren't as great as they could have been. But come the hell on. What do you expect when somebody comes to me in that condition? So you want to know what happened in my own words? Yeah, fine, but don't get pissed when I call your practices into question. The patient was admitted with significant injuries to his legs, torso, arms, and head. On the surface they appeared to be lacerations, which was strange because their severity would have caused near instantaneous exsanguination, and they would have gone straight to the morgue, not to me. Closer inspection revealed the wounds to have been sealed by intense cold, as if the patient had been frozen, either while being injured or immediately after. He was still clinging to life. If I had to speculate, which I know you don't want me to do, I'd guess the patient was injured and subsequently exposed to a hard vacuum. How that could have happened is beyond my guess, as I know the patient was not, and had never been, an astronaut. But I guess that's what Hephaestus is all about, right, boss? We can put the pieces together over here, you know? No, the goddamn pun was not intended. Anyway, as soon as I realized the cold was the only thing keeping this patient from bleeding out, it was a race against the clock to get him closed up. Do I really have to tell this next part? You have the f***ing videotape. Look, fine. Doctors and as well as the assistants packed the wounds. We used the portable scanners to check for internal injuries, and of course, there were more than we could count. You guys knew that too, obviously. There was no saving this guy. Thanks for making us try, though. Seriously. It's not like any of us would be seeing this in our nightmares for the rest of our lives. No, I won't calm down. This is bullshit. Yeah, I know about my wife. Just let me vent. Christ. Jesus Christ. Look, so the patient flatlined and I called it. But then your boss said to keep working, keep packing, keep suturing. I felt like we were taxiderming the poor guy. You people are really sick, you know that? Dr. was the first one to detect movement, presumably once the tissue had been warmed up enough for the to... What word should I use, boss? Gestate? Hatch? Okay, become. Whatever you want. I'll admit, as a surgeon, it was fascinating to see the filaments stretching across the wounds to close them up. Whatever you folks are planning to do with them might save a lot of lives in the future. Probably long after I'm gone, though. What I don't understand, though, is why you brought the patient to us when you knew this was going to happen. Did you need a sterile environment? Did you need a witness with medical training? Hell, there's no shortages of medical degrees around this place. The patient was a doctor of biophysics. Here's what I'd love to know from you. What the hell did the medical assistants do to deserve what happened to them? They were kids, for Christ's sake. Were they even 25? Yeah, I know what they signed when they started. Jesus, Okay, once the filaments had closed all but one of the wounds, they had also sealed the orifices of the patient. The patient's skin appeared to take on the characteristics of the filaments as well, reinforcing it, perhaps. because what happened next would need more tensile strength than baseline flesh, I guess. After the skin was reinforced, the filaments began to tighten. This had the effect of opening the remaining wound on the torso. Can I at least clean the blood off me before I finish this? No? Great. Thanks. You guys are really something else. No, really, thanks. Thanks. Okay, so everything tightened and the remaining wound gaped open until the patient... What? Inverted? Is there even a medical term for someone turning inside out? That sound, man. The wet, cracking sound. We would have been out of there like a shot if your boss hadn't locked the door to the operating theater. We just had to watch the patient, or whatever he was now, slapping and writhing against the table. Hephaestus is about to point-to-point wormholes, right? Yeah, no shit. I know you can't confirm or deny it. Just give me a little credit. When your boss told me the doctors and to step back and have the assistants conduct a physical exam, I knew they were done for. I just knew. I've worked here long enough. Never get attached. That's your motto, right? That must be easy for you, since no one wants to get to know you. Fuck you. Seriously, those girls deserved better. Yes, I know I have to report what happened. I just want you to know what I'm saying. Fuck you. And the you is referring to you. Yeah, you. What are you gonna do? Fire me? Ha, no. I know that's not your style. I'm sure I'll wake up on the other side of that wormhole. You can't confirm or deny tomorrow morning. Whatever, man. The inverted patient stopped moving when the assistants began the physical exam. They took his temperature, they drew blood, they sampled whatever that yellow mucus was. It seemed to be going fine, until they were asked to do a biopsy of one of the mucus ducts. And yes, I'm going to use her damn name because she's a person. No matter how much you viewed her and as commodities, she made the first incision and was instantly enveloped by a membrane extruded by the duct she'd tried to cut. It was semi-transparent. We could all see inside. Another membrane wrapped around, and before her eyes they were compressed. If any sound could overtake the patient's inversion in the race for the most disturbing noise I've ever heard, that sound would do it. Once and were compressed into shapes roughly the size of a beach ball. A small hole opened in each membrane to let out the blood and other bodily fluids. It shot across the room, all over me and the other doctors, which you can plainly see from the state of my clothing. You said I couldn't change until we were done with this bullshit. After the liquid was released, the compression resumed until they were small enough to get sucked into the patient's body, and they were. Then you let me and the other doctors out. Yes, that was it. I know that was it. You know that was it. You were watching the whole time next to your boss. Jesus. Yeah, good, fine, yeah. Fuck you too.